Hello, Guardians. Welcome back to Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Deerigan. Alongside me, as always, is the fairest of them all, Josh Finney.
Excuse me?
That's what the TWAB says. Okay, I'm reading the TWAB.
Christ.
It says, who is the fairest of them all?
This is, this has certainly been a week in Destiny, that's for sure.
It was a week. Hoverboards and...
yeah, man. Really can't wait to get in and check out those PvP changes. When I had the opportunity to play on Tuesday, everything was broken. I think everything except Gambit at one point was offline, and that's not even a joke. Like, I'm 99% certain that's the thing that happened. But, Joasis and I logged in, got our skimmers, to upgrade it to the exotic one, to keep it, instead of it just being a gray one at the end of the event, to get it as the exotic one, you have to complete... there's an objective you have to complete. One of three, which is either earn 1,200 medals, LOL. Top 10% in the Nightfall Strikes playlist. Which, a lot harder than it sounds, because that's the one that everyone's going for, and I don't even remember what the last one is. But all I know is we quickly deduced that would be the easiest, and we were playing like 3-4 hours after reset. Our second try, we got the necessary threshold because people weren't hitting the high scores yet. So even us carrying a bumbling blueberry through it still got it done. So I joked between that and my very first drop of the grenade launcher, I got the god roll that I wanted on it. I'm done. I'm good. I'm done with the event. I just need to earn a couple mementos.
Nice.
Of course, I'm being sarcastic. I will be playing a bit more of this event. Not because I necessarily like it or anything, but I do think that with the skimmers, it's really fun right now. Don't quite know why we're getting these for Guardian games. It does feel like, okay, it would have been cool if we got them and there was a mode where we had to use the skimmers. That would have made more sense to me. Maybe that'll be something that we get, next year. I don't know. It's cool. I like that we got the skimmers. I'm less than thrilled that your only two options are to have the Guardian Games one or to buy the Gallarhorn inspired one, which is part of a $25 bundle in the store. For the Gallarhorn skimmer, a ship, and a ghost. And admittedly, I think all that stuff looks really cool. There is another set of armor that was put in the store for silver, which is the Gallarhorn inspired armor. I think it looks really cool. It's kind of like the Knights Templar meets Gallarhorn, essentially. Yeah. It's like somebody described it as Oblivion Knights of the Nine style armor, and I totally agree. The reason why I'm kind of ticked off about this is it goes back to our same complaints about Eververse. You just put the N7 gear in the shop not even a month ago for silver, and now you're adding another silver only set. You cannot buy this set for dust.
Yeah.
I understand adding the armor for the Guardian games, but this is separate even from that. And the Guardian games armor does look pretty good this year, I think, on all three classes. The Gallarhorn armor looks really cool on all three classes. I'm so bothered that in a season this long, when you're giving away this much dust, you couldn't put that set up for dust.
Yeah, that seems,
The collaborations, I have just learned to accept that those will never be up for dust. For your original sets not to be offered via dust is frankly insane. And also, how cool would this armor have been if it was hey, we know that the game's been kind of lackluster lately. We want to give you this armor as part of Into the Light, so that everybody has some fresh, really, really tricked out armor and free ornaments going into the final expansion. I don't understand what the thinking is there. I can understand you selling the skimmer. It's a bummer, but I can understand you selling it. There is no reason you couldn't offer this up. What about a Dares of Eternity loot pool refresh? Maybe make that a part of it. It just feels like every time we take a step forward, I hear Crucible changes are pretty good. The Prophecy refresh seems to be incredible right now, according to our friends who have gotten a chance to play it. and then you go and get this shit, and
Right.
it feels like we're taking steps backwards again.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's I think that the conspiracy theorist in me wants to say that the writing is on the wall and they like are trying to make up any sort of money that they can um from, just not hitting their goals last year, but also like, man, they it seems like a lot, right? I mean, it just seems like a lot.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's embarrassing. I'm not even going to attempt to defend this one. I think the armor looks cool. Like that's the biggest bummer is the armor looks really cool, but you're asking me to effectively spend $40 to get the full set, and that's just on one class.
Right.
Like I might be able to forgive the $15-$20 price points on this stuff if you got it for all three classes.
Right.
The fact you only get it for one is really bad. And I mean, I know I'm an anomaly. I play one class. A lot of people out there play two or three, but it's what's kept me from buying the. If I was going to buy the Mass Effect armor, I'd buy it for my Titan. I just don't play my Titan realistically,
Hmm.
and I don't want to buy it in the event that I might eventually play it. No, I've got some really cool sets that have been given to me through the season pass. But like, for example, in the season pass, you get it for all three characters.
Hmm.
Why is it not like that when I buy something in the shop?
Right.
Why is it not like that when it's even if you said, okay, we're not going to do it for the third parties for the third party crossovers, what if we just did it for like our internally developed sets? And like I'll even go a step further. I won't even require you to do it for like Guardian games or anything like that. Like just when it comes to something like this, like Gallarhorn inspired armor, why can I not get it for all three classes for one price point? Then I might look the other way at how much you charge.
Yeah.
So,
It's
just like that's a pretty big personal gripe that I have right now.
yeah. I
They
feel
they
like
put all this cool stuff in the shop, and we had no idea that the Gallarhorn stuff was coming, and it's really cool, but it's a really big bummer that again it's going to cost you $40 just, and that's like on the cheaper end of things lately.
yeah.
Like you got some goodwill with the community by giving us the Normandy and the Mako and the Edie Sparrow or the Edie Ghost for free. Well, all that goodwill is kind of gone now in terms of pricing because you're going to drop two more sets for
Hmm.
silver, one of them silver only, and you're going to drop a really really cool accessories pack that's silver only. You cannot buy the pieces individually. If you could buy and I think they clearly did this on purpose. You can't buy the skimmer or any of it separately. You probably will be able to like next season, but
Right.
in a season this long, there's no excuse.
Yeah, it's disappointing for sure. It's upsetting a little bit,
Oh,
but
not a
also
little bit.
like,
It is upsetting. This is
but
asinine.
and I understand that like the Gallahorn set is like a cool set and
Yeah,
everything, and the Mass Effect set. But if you, I mean, to be honest, like if you want Bungie to stop doing this, stop buying it. Like and
yeah,
I know that's really hard to do for people, including myself, right? I mean, I'm the idiot who doesn't play Fortnite and bought all four Ninja Turtles when they came to the game, right?
right.
Um, but I don't know. I don't know how to tell people how
It
to.
bothers me less buying something in Fortnite knowing that I'm getting the whole package for that price,
Hmm.
or that I'm getting the whole skin for that price, and it
Plus, it's
still
free.
is more appropriately priced than here.
Plus, like Fortnite is free, right? Or the battle pass
Yeah,
is however
right, and
much, right?
that's also what like what doesn't really bother me about that is like okay, well, like all there is to do is buy skins. Like I can very easily say no.
Yeah.
Here it's like I wouldn't even be bothered by like because I kind of hand waved it. I thought it was a little ridiculous, but okay, in the scheme of things, I'm not going to complain that the crossover sets cost a little bit more silver.
Hmm.
Okay, I understand that. When they did the Witcher collab is when it's like, okay, this is kind of out of hand because to buy the entire set on one character cost you $70 to get all the cosmetics and to get the cosmetics, the finisher, the emote, and the armor for one class, I believe, cost you $70. And that's just unacceptable. I look at how many armor sets they've put into the game this year. this season alone, and it's a 6-month season. So walk with me for a second, Corey.
I'm walking.
We
Put
get
my
the
shoes
base
on.
armor for Wish. We get the armor ornaments for Wish as part of the season pass. We get the Warlord's Ruin armor for the dungeon. You get Dawning armor. You get the Mass Effect armor. You get the Witcher armor. You get Guardian Games armor. You get Gallarhorn armor. That is 8 sets. How is it that none of those are attainable without buying at least a season pass? And only 2 of those are attainable if you get a season pass. To get the Warlord's Ruin set, you have to have the dungeon key in order to go get that armor, which is another $25 if you didn't buy the $100 package like the rest of us. And then on top of that, you're asking us to spend 1,500 to 2,000 silver per pack, but you can't buy the exact amount of silver you want either. You always have to buy more. So it's actually costing you more money than is what's listed on the site. So I want to know how we can put all this effort, continuing this is a topic we bring up once every few months. How do you put this much effort into this armor and you can't give a set or 2 away for free?
Right.
I know we got that like Predator inspired set during during Witch that we got it after the last Eververse outcry. We got that like given to us since they were only giving us at best 1 vendor refresh a year for the armor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How on earth are some of these not earnable in game? Like, I think it would have been really cool that you could earn the Gallarhorn armor throughout Guardian Games or throughout Into the Light, like do a set amount of missions, even doing like Riven's Wish quests. Like that would have given me more reason to go do some of this stuff. Mm-hmm. And it's cool armor to boot. Like I personally think it was a little egregious that they charged us for the subclass 3.0 sets when they came out. We got them for Solar Arc and Void. But those sets were really cool, and that was back when we could still get stuff for Dust. You know, they haven't had a set where you can buy individual pieces for Dust since the last of those sets came out.
Yeah.
Excuse me. The last time they did it was believe it or not, the Fortnite set. The Fortnite set is the last set I can remember where you could buy individual pieces because I specifically bought the sneakers for my Warlock. Mm-hmm. That is unacceptable.
Yeah.
If it's weapon inspired, if it's original to the game, there should always be an opportunity to get it with Dust. At least before, you had to make sure you were on that week, but you could get it via Dust. And then they killed the ability for us to see what was going to be for sale weeks in advance. Mm-hmm. They killed that in the API.
Yeah.
Probably because they noticed they were losing money.
Probably. Yeah. Makes sense. Right.
How ridiculously we're at a point where like I feel like I keep saying this is unacceptable. It's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. And it's a shame that this is gonna overshadow what I think is actually like, okay, it's Guardian Games. It's kind of a fun event though. King of the Hill is in the game now. There's a bunch of Crucible changes that I've seen a lot of positive reception to. And yet here I am having to talk about Eververse for the opening 15 minutes.
Of course. I mean, what else is new, right? I mean,
it's so cool. Like the armor is, I keep coming back to it. The armor is cool. I'm probably going to cave and end up getting it despite all my complaining. I haven't spent silver in the Eververse in probably a year. Mm-hmm. I can't tell you the last thing I bought for silver because I didn't buy the Witcher armor. I haven't bought the Mass Effect armor. I haven't bought anything Mass Effect related, actually. I might have gotten the finisher. I take that back. I might have gotten the Omniblade finisher. But I didn't buy the PlayStation set last summer. But I really like how this looks. I really like how this armor set looks. It's like, okay, if it I believe it's 1,500 silver. Like I'll spend that, sure, but I don't like doing it for the exact reason you said, that when we do this, we're fueling the problem. Like I have voted with my wallet for so long, and this might be the thing that actually gets me.
Right.
Because like I usually don't like gaudy armor, but I think this looks really cool. I think the skimmer is really cool. I hope that it shows up for Dust sometime after Final Shape comes out, because I'll 100% cough up the silver for it, or cough up the dust for it, excuse me. And I probably wouldn't be as upset if you could buy things individually also. Mm-hmm. So that's my soliloquy. I'm kind of over it. Yes, I'll acknowledge that they still, for Festival of the Lost, for Dawning, Guardian Games, etc., they do still sell the armor set for Bright Dust. That is a saving grace. I will be picking up the Guardian Games armor set for Bright Dust. I think it looks really, really good on all three classes.
What, man,
But
what happened?
goddamn,
It's just like, what happened?
goddamn. What happened? The poor upper management and a parent company that desperately needs them to make them money.
I know, but I'm just like,
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah. You don't have to say it. We're all thinking it. I understand.
hmm. Anyways, Josh, let's talk about something
Let's
more
talk. Let's talk
positive.
about some.
Question mark.
Let's talk about something slightly more positive, I guess. Kind of shifting gears. We'll shift back to Destiny in a minute because I want to talk a little bit more about skimmers. We said last week we were gonna kind of talk a little bit about what we were playing because it's a really slow time. I am like starting to warm the Destiny gears back up a little bit.
Yeah, I logged in
But
and I was like, what is this place?
it's really hard though to put down two games right now: Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Helldivers 2.
Hmm.
It is really hard to put those games down. And we joked about it on Xbox Casuals, but I have Bolt Gun installed.
Jeez.
And I'm actually really excited to try this game. Low key though, like this is like kind of the catch up time for me. On games, I was really planning on starting Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Casuals will still happen. My personal promise is that it is happening before the final shape. I've not bought my ROG Ally yet. There is a new version coming in like the next month or two, and I'm holding out for better specs. I'm just saying. But I do look forward to playing a lot of Baldur's Gate over the spring and summer. Right now, it's like kind of a race against the clock to see if I'm going to get through Rebirth before Dragon's Dogma 2. The character creator for that one up tonight, and I'm very excited to get off this call and go design my character for 2 hours. Have you seen some of the stuff around this game?
I haven't seen anything about it.
So previews went out for Dragon's Dogma 2 the other day. Three different reviewers who I implicitly trust when it comes to RPGs said that the last game to give them the sense of wonder and excitement when they stepped into an open world was The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild.
That's
A
pretty
based
high
on the
standard.
opening 4 hours, every single preview I read said this is the game of the year frontrunner right now.
Hmm.
I talked to a friend of ours, mutual friend of ours, Ray Apollo, who absolutely loves the first Dragon's Dogma, which kind of became something of a cult classic. Really wasn't like this massive game. Got an anime on Netflix inexplicably. He was like, yeah. He goes, yep, I fully believe that. He's like, the first one felt like it was revolutionary when you played it. It's like just Capcom had such a bad reputation at the time that nobody cared. And
Yeah,
I
the
still feel like this
Crackdown
game has
era.
really flown under the radar until like the last 2 or 3 months. But when's the last time Capcom like truly missed on a game?
I mean, not that they really missed, but what was that dinosaur game they released
I
for
mean,
Game Pass?
even Exo Primal, like in terms of reviews,
Yeah,
sure, but they had so much engagement on that with it being a Game Pass game.
yeah. I mean,
Like
I mean,
they're still
Capcom.
they're pumping out DLC for that thing still.
I know didn't they just announce like a new battle pass or something?
Today, I think they did. Yeah,
Yeah,
there was a Capcom Direct this afternoon that I missed, but
yeah.
yeah, man, it just Capcom is like of the like mega third party publishers and developers, they're like kind of the one that's just like let us cook.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, whether it's their stewardship of the Monster Hunter franchise, the Resident Evil franchise, like I really credit Resident Evil Biohazard when it came out. 7, the soft reboot of the series, like is kind of like being like the reboot of Capcom in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it took full effect when we got the Resident Evil 2 remake.
Yeah, and Monster Hunter World too.
Monster Hunter World, yeah, Monster Hunter World is the example of a game that like it was big when it came out, but it has had such long legs that's why it became a phenomenon.
I mean, there's the Return to World thing going on right
Oh
now.
yeah, well now there is. I mean, uh, you look at that, and also Monster Hunter Rise was huge. That was a huge game. I believe it came to the Switch first, and then it came to PlayStation and Xbox. About a year later, but that with its expansions have been big. Like Street Fighter 6 was pretty big for them last year. You know, that was the first Street Fighter in a generation.
Right.
Just man, they've got a new IP coming out that I can't. We keep calling it not Onimusha. That's what everyone
I
keeps
know.
calling it, because when they showed it during the summer showcase, like me and Ray were like, "Oh my god, Onimusha's back!" And then, oh, it's not Onimusha.
I know. I really thought it was. I really thought it was Onimusha when it was announced. I was like, I mean,
I love that. I was watching the Xbox Partner Direct yesterday, and Ray and I were watching it together, and I was like, "Damn, this game looks so cool," but I don't know that I want to drop $60 or $70 on a game I'm not sure I'm gonna like. Like at this point, all I want is Ghost of Tsushima 2.
yeah. Well, isn't it coming to Game Pass? It's coming to Game
And
Pass.
then, right as I said I'm gonna buy this on sale, all of a sudden it pops up and coming day one to Xbox Game Pass,
Mm-hmm.
which we did not know in the debut trailer for it last summer. A lot of us assumed it, but Capcom was like, no, we don't know yet. And oh, boom, there you go. Like that was like the killing blow during that, which that was a fun little show too. I think there was something for everyone there. Um, y'all get to listen to me talk about Persona DLC in September. So,
Mm-hmm.
but kind of like shifting gears back, I guess. Helldivers has been amazing. I love the world building they're doing there, and like it's kind of cooled off for me personally, but I do like that right now, like to introduce mechs to the game, they have a new planet that's under siege, and you won't like the game player population will not get mech stratagems until the production planet is liberated. That is such a cool twist, I think, and like I think it's things like that that are indicative of why so many Destiny players have been playing, or like former Destiny addicts have been playing so much Helldivers over the last month. Is things like that, just like the goofy sci-fi nature of it. There's nothing like Yuri Lowenthal yelling "kill him" in your ear as loud as he can when you're facing down a swarm of bugs, or like cackling maniacally when you're using a flamethrower. Friendly fire has never felt so good. It's a goofy ass game for goofy ass people. I just I'm really enjoying playing that with friends. And then God, you can't possibly talk about the opening first quarter of the year without talking about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. This is just an incredible gem of a game. It took a game that, yeah, I think I made the illusion last week that there is an area at the beginning of the game that takes you like maybe 20-30 minutes to complete in original Final Fantasy VII. To 100% this area in Rebirth takes like 8 hours. It's an incredible experience. And like, it's one of those games. It's not like a Ubisoft game where I feel like I'm checking things off on a checklist. Like, I do have a checklist, but everything I do is furthering my party XP. It's furthering my battle XP. It's developing new materias and new summons. It's giving me lore about the world. It's giving me lore about characters that I encountered in Remake, or that, you encounter in the second half of, right, that big meaty chunk in the middle, I guess I should say, not the second half, but like discs 2 and 3 of the original game. And like, oh my god, like there's callbacks to Crisis Core, there's calls forward to Dirge of Cerberus and Advent Children and Before Crisis, and it's kind of like the perfect connective tissue, and it's the Final Fantasy game I've always wanted, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I loved 16, but 16 feels way more Devil May Cry than it does Final Fantasy, in my opinion. Like, I can just button mash to all hell when I'm playing 16. You have to actually execute commands and manage your party and be smart in Rebirth. And I like that. I like that it's a different kind of challenge. It's been a lot of fun. I can't wait to play more. I'm roughly 40% of the way through the story, I think. And I'm taking my sweet time. I just got to one of the scenes of the original game. I just got to the gold saucer for the first time. So really enjoying it. Really, really think it's a lot of fun.
Nice.
You're on your own Final Fantasy journey, though.
I am. So I've actually been playing. I've never completed. Well, I've never really played the original Final Fantasy VII. So I am playing it, Josh. I just my playtime right now is at like 6.5 hours, but I just got out of that opening where Aerith gets kidnapped and the pillar falls and Avalanche is no more, pretty much. And it makes me really sad because I want to play Rebirth, and I know that those characters are such a big part of Rebirth, and they're like hardly in this game at all. And so it makes me future sad, I guess, because what happens to them.
Yeah, it's simply put, it's the greatest twist in video games of all time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like it maybe not like the greatest, but it is like it's probably the most iconic twist.
It's so I'm out looking for Aerith, and I mean, just by virtue of paying attention to video games, everybody kind of knows the we'll call it the Darth Vader moment of Final Fantasy, right? Like it's not even a spoiler what happens anymore, I don't think. But I'm gonna keep it just in case anybody hasn't played it. And
I would, simply because I know a lot of people, their first experience with Final Fantasy VII is going to be Rebirth,
I
and
know,
Rebirth does change that portion of the game up pretty drastically from what I've heard.
yeah, I'm just so I mean, I'm not gonna say anything, but I'm just saying I know paying attention to video games for 35 plus years, right? Like you just know certain things even if you haven't played games, that game in particular or any other game, right? So it's like osmosis, you just learn. uh and so I'm enjoying it. I think because I know I know these characters outside of this game too, it's
Mm-hmm.
helping, right? Just their popularity alone has made me more engaged with these characters than I was originally, right? So
I would say also, like, in terms of an overall Final Fantasy cast, this is like probably the easiest to love too, and so much of that is because of all the extra media that we got in the years that
mhm.
followed.
Yeah.
Um, but I think it's very funny how Rebirth handles the party versus how the original game does. In the original game, you can actually skip over completely two whole characters in the party,
Hmm.
whereas Remake, Intergrade, and Rebirth force the entire party on you, and it feels so much more organic. At least with the one that I've met so far, it feels so much more organic to be getting their story. And I'm like, how do you play? How did you play through Final Fantasy VII without this character? Like, I don't understand. Like, their story is so, like, every character story in Seven is so important to the overall world story, and that's what makes it so special. I think with the party, everyone in the party has something they're fighting for,
Yeah.
and it so clearly is the trailblazer when we come to thinking about how party based games work now. Like, you think of something like uh like the modern Persona games, for example. Like, I hate to come back to that, but you think of a party based game like that, and like, you don't get the side stories that you get in those. You don't get the social links in 3, 4, and 5 without something like 7 coming first, or even the work that 10 does building on top of that.
Right.
You don't get that. It's like, these are stories that everyone gets a story, everyone has a purpose. And like, while I like 16 for focusing on the Rossfield brothers so much, it falls short. Like, Jill doesn't get enough development. It gives us the franchise's best Sid. Maybe not the most iconic, but the best Sid. And everyone else is kind of like tossed aside for character development.
Hmm.
Poor Dion. Dion did not deserve it. But like, you could still be a good game and be flawed. And like, Rebirth is like kind of challenging the notion of like the way we think about some of these characters. We were talking about how like Barrett's dialogue seems so different now.
Yeah.
Like, it feels like, oh, this isn't the 90s anymore, and you're hiring the first person who can speak both English and Japanese to translate it. Like,
Hmm.
you actually consulted with actual people of color on this character.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one thing that stood out. I talked about on Xbox Casuals, but man, it sure it sure stands out, that writing in 2024. We'll say. So, uh but yeah, I'm enjoying it. I think I'm really excited to continue this Final Fantasy VII journey, because I see why I was so opposed to it for a long time, because I
Yeah,
was young and an idiot and a Nintendo kid, right? Like, you just,
right.
you know, "Ugh, Final Fantasy VII, I'm playing Zelda over here." But like, I see why people love this game and
Yeah.
why it was so important at the time, right? And how you can still see little bits and pieces of their Nintendo 64 development in there, right? Like, there's three different there's like three different versions of each character.
Hmm.
There's the battle version, the cutscene version, and then the walking around the overworld version.
Right.
But it seems like a pretty special game so far, and I'm glad I'm playing through it finally. Also weird to play it on a Nintendo console, because it's not where it's known to be played.
Right. I still remember when Cloud was put in Smash Brothers, and everyone was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah.
Like, and it's clear, he's there as the representative of the franchise, like big Japanese franchise. I don't
Yeah.
know what was more shocking, to see him show up in Smash for the Wii U, or when the first Fighter Pass comes out for Smash Ultimate and we get Joker revealed, and it was like, "What the hell? What is
Yeah.
happening?"
Yeah, and just to piggyback off that real quick, like, I think obviously Smash Brothers is meant to be a celebration of games,
Right.
right? And obviously they couldn't get PlayStation proper involved, but I think Cloud and Sora and Sephiroth and Snake and even Joker at the time kind of
I would say
represented the
Hero
place.
from Dragon Quest also.
Yeah, I would say, that kind of represented the PlayStation quote unquote side of things.
Ryu. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there are plenty of characters. I mean, Hitachi, like there's plenty of characters that you feel like were from those big third party franchises that, like you said, we always associated with PlayStation until like
Mhm.
a generation or two ago.
Yeah. And
Like,
obviously Banjo from Microsoft and
like you,
Minecraft.
you and I joked, like, really the only character that they actually like missed out on was probably Master Chief.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which, like, I don't know, like, I think the Microsoft now would do that. I don't know if they would have done it back then, but I think they would 100% do it now. Like,
Yeah.
we're like, oh, it's so set up perfectly, and then it's like, yeah, but Sora fits so perfectly for it
I
to be
know.
the end for this specific iteration of Smash. It
I
fit
know.
perfectly.
I want it noted, Josh, that when Nintendo Power Block started and they revealed that they were going to have fighter passes for the Switch version,
Mm-hmm.
I said Sora is going to be in that second one. I said, you watch. Sora's going to be in the second one.
The one that I took my prediction to the grave. I was dead set that it was going to be Chief. I was convinced because of the Disney licensing that Sora would never happen, and I was wrong because there was money to be made. So Bobby Iger saw that and went with it.
I can't believe they included the Mickey Mouse head on the Keyblade.
I can't either. The amiibo came in a week or two ago, and I was showing that to my partner, and she was like, "I don't understand why this is a big deal. Like, he's a Disney character. Like, that's why it's a big deal, though."
Yeah,
Before we shift into the Destiny talk, I'm gonna take a second here, real fast. This
I know what you're
just
doing. I know what you're
this
doing.
just came up on Twitter.
Hmm.
The creator of Dragon Ball, Akira Toriyama, has passed away at age 68.
Man.
From a acute subdural hematoma.
Oh, gross. Yeah,
Yeah, that sounds fucking awful.
sounds
Uh,
painful.
Even if you don't read manga or watch anime, you have felt Toriyama's influence in pop culture over the last 30, 40 years.
Well, Dragon Quest, Chrono Trigger, Dragon Ball.
Right. I mean, like, even beyond that, though, like,
Yeah.
it was like really one of the first Japanese pop culture things to come to the West.
Hmm.
Um, God, he was still creating. He was still creating too. Like,
Yeah.
just Sand Attack is the next game he was working on is coming out in April.
Hmm.
Um,
Man, that's two big creators we lost, because Suikoden guy died, right? Like the IE
Yes,
Chronicles
the
guy.
original mind behind Suikoden died as
Yeah.
well. Yes,
Yeah.
a week or two ago. Jesus Christ. Yeah, he was active in the space for roughly 45 years. I mean,
Hmm.
it there are few, I would say there are few creators from the East that are as influential as he has been. It's like him, Hayao Miyazaki, Shigeru Miyamoto, like that may be like the big three right now, frankly.
Yeah. Kojima, I guess, would be a fourth one you could throw in there.
I got Kojima up there, but it's like I'm not putting Kojima on the level of Akira Toriyama.
No, no, I'm just saying if you're gonna
Yeah, I
go,
would say like in terms of like a notable name, sure.
yeah,
Um, Man, this is this was shocking. This popped up while we were talking about Final Fantasy, and I didn't want
yeah,
to interrupt a good discussion, but
yeah. This is
man, if you've enjoyed anything like pop culture over the last 40-45 years, you have
yeah,
felt Toriyama's influence.
yep.
Whether it be, comics, superheroes, anime and manga, like he's games, obviously, we just, Chrono Trigger is considered one of the greatest games of all time, for God's sake.
Hmm.
Um, what a Jesus Christ, I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, this is a rough one.
Um, yeah, but that he passed away apparently several days ago. He passed away on March 1st. So the family did not put out a statement until after the funeral. Um, so that is I think that's very nice and respectful with what I imagine his wishes would have been.
Right,
Um,
because I mean, I don't know if you remember when Satoru Iwata died. Like,
I do.
he, there was like people were lining the streets of the of his funeral cavalcade. Right, like they were like
Yeah.
thousands of people.
I was actually recording a podcast live when the news broke, and we threw out the whole rundown and just talked about Satoru Iwata and his influence on the industry for like the next 45 minutes.
Yeah, I was outside the Nintendo store in New York when I read the news.
Jesus
And
Christ.
I went to the store the next day and it was crowded and people were leaving bananas and Kirby stuffed animals and like they had this memory book that they were going to ship to Nintendo of Japan. Um and I got to sign that. That was really cool. Uh but yeah, I was at the Nintendo store and it was closed because I think it was a Sunday and yeah, it was nuts. Man, influential man.
Just incredible. I'm at an absolute loss for words. I don't even know what to say.
Yeah.
We're gonna shift into some Destiny talk finally.
Yeah.
Um, there's not a lot this week. Like I said, I need some time to sit down with the PvP changes. I know a lot of the playlists were really messed up, and I was unable to play at all last night. So my plan is to play tonight after we get done. I'm gonna pull a late night, get some in, and get a lot in this weekend probably. But I want to take some time for the TWAB real fast here. Um, I will have it known. Hunters won the first 2 days of Guardian games. I want it noted.
I mean, sure.
I'm okay with it. Diamond medallions are a thing. I think these are really weird. One of them is complete a raid with all of the same class, and then the other one obviously is from the Twitch drops. So good for you. There is a Bungie reward you can get. You can get a Guardian Games medal.
Interesting.
Yeah, this looks really goofy. I think it would have been awesome as like a premium sized pin, though. This would have been really cool. The Guardian Games Cup thing is happening. I do think that the fact they're giving you a replica skimmer if you happen to be the team that wins the cup is dope as all hell. That is just really really sick.
Yeah.
There's a Mass Effect emblem. There's an N7. It actually has the N7 logo on it. Available for free. The code is in the TWAB. But in case you don't want to go there, it is L3P XXR GJ4.
Hmm.
Don't forget to log in every week for your free 700 amount of Bright Dust. Once per account. It is not once per character, unfortunately. Once per account. And that is going to happen every weekly reset from now until the final shape. You will get roughly, I think, 9 to 10,000 bright dust through this. Which, I mean, that's more than enough for an armor set. So just saying. Granted, you can only get the Guardian Games armor set for that dust, but, well, yeah, maybe we should complain about that, actually. As a reminder, March 10th in the United States, daylight savings time kicks in. So daily and weekly reset time will update to 10 a.m. Pacific time. That is noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. There are a lot of known issues, so you guys might want to check those out. There just really is, there's not a lot. There's not a lot this week. Kind of go have fun with Guardian Games. Yeah, Jesus, I really can't believe that we have that little Destiny stuff. We had so many weeks of giant updates that it's like we're getting a breather this week finally. It's just like, oh, go play the game, go play with your skimmers. The skimmer trails are really cool. In case you haven't seen this, the trail changes based on the subclass you have equipped. So there's 5 different potential trails you can get. I thought that was a really neat little detail. You can grind literally on anything. You're grinding on invisible rails in the air, which is really cool. You're like grinding on the trail of your skimmer. Just incredible. I love that we have other vehicles finally in Destiny. It's been a long time coming. Ronnie, being the old man of the group, is like, oh, I'm just going to use my Sparrow. Everyone's using the skimmer.
Oh,
all right, buddy.
Have fun on your Sparrow.
Your hot water bottle and your Tums are ready. Kidding, Ronnie. We love you. I take Tums a lot, so. God, there really isn't a lot. We have some thought-provoking questions, Corey.
Yeah, we have a few.
We don't have too much, but we got a little bit here. Joasis asks us a thought-provoking question to start off with. Being that this is the final season of Destiny 2, what are your top 3 seasons? For me, it goes Chosen, Splicer, and then a tie between Lost and Seraph.
Man.
I want to clarify on seasons. We're talking from Undying forward. We're not considering Drifter or Opulence or anything like that.
Yeah. Man, I would have to say, man, I think, I don't know if it's my favorite, but I would have to say Arrivals.
Yeah, Arrivals is a pretty strong contender, I would say.
I think it's because it got a lot of people back in and paying attention. And,
it was just so shocking. None of us expected to log in, and all of a sudden the pyramids are here. They're here.
Yeah, that one's pretty good. I actually really enjoyed Season of the Witch, like the story and the event and everything. I thought that was like a very great season. And then I might go with I want to say Splicer. Yeah, we'll go with Splicer. Although that God, that first season of the Witch Queen was really good too.
Risen.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
Well, nothing from this past year is on my list. I'll tell you that.
I mean, that's fair.
Which is an honorable mention for me.
Yeah.
So I really did like everything that Witch brought to the table. But for me, like when I think about a season, I think of the weapons it brought. I think of the story, the activities, the weapons, the gameplay loop. I think of all that. I'm not counting reprised raids or dungeons or anything like that. I think Chosen has to be number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Chosen is what brought the current seasonal model in, and for better or worse, for like those first 4 or 5 seasons, we loved it.
Mm-hmm.
And but when I say current seasonal model, I don't mean like, oh, seasons as a whole. I mean like, oh, you've got like the weekly quests that you can do, and like, oh, there's 10 objectives you can go do every week, and earn bright dust and XP and things like that. But it also gave us 3 or 4 battlegrounds and a brand new strike.
Yep.
as well as a lot of really fun weapons that like obviously aren't meta anymore, but were still really fun. Splicer, I got to agree, Splicer at number 2. I'm a sucker for the whole aesthetic. I really liked the not just the overload missions or whatever they were, the little arena mode. I liked the expunge missions also. I was a big fan of those.
Yeah.
Um, we got the awesome cutscene. It was like one of the first real, we'd had a couple before, but it was like the first real sketched one that we got.
Yeah.
I also should note when we talk about Chosen, we also got, not only did we gain an ally in Keitel, that was we had the inverse of when Uldren shoots Cade. We had Zavala picking up Crow, and that is, I think, has been like the defining shot of the game for like the last 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I think of the most iconic shots in Destiny, those are 2 of the 5 for me.
Yeah.
Like that, it is that it's that significant.
Yeah. It's cool.
So Splicer gives us another one of such moments. It's really the first time we like flesh out Mithrax as a character, and you get the awesome scene of him and Saint defending the Elixni Quarter. And the radical transformation that Saint undergoes as a character during this is just it's so incredible to watch.
Yeah.
You can't help but cheer for this. And of course that leads us straight into Lost, where, and I don't have Lost on my list, but like Lost really continued that trajectory, and like that's when it's revealed, like, oh, Savathun is Osiris. Oh no,
the
we
worst
totally didn't know
the
this.
worst kept secret of
Yeah.
everything.
Just like, I mean, we still love so many of the weapons that were introduced in Splicer, Chroma Rush and Ignition Code. We like so many of these weapons. I really like the LMG that we got that season. Like it was fun. I think when I go for this third season, it's funny. I've got a few contenders that are vying for it. You brought up Arrivals. I think Arrivals is a worthy call out. It gave us the Wither Horde.
Mm-hmm.
Gave us, I actually really liked the Exodus quest line, where we try to convince everybody to come to the tower and they all basically refuse except for Anna. We get Anna out kind of at the last minute. um seeing everything go dark at the end of the event, and then all of a sudden the Traveler awakens and repairs itself, was one of the coolest moments in game. That is like the definition of what something live should look like, in my opinion.
Yeah.
um you call out Risen. I think Risen was really awesome. Again, we got more of those battlegrounds. We got the Crow and Saladin storyline. Saladin really isn't the guy I would have picked to take Crow under his wing, but he did. And then, obviously in the absence of Saladin, the real Osiris takes Crow under his wing.
Mm-hmm.
The two that I found myself debating when I was thinking about this question earlier today was, as much as I complained about the event, because I think the event is truly god awful, the weapons are so good though, and the story was so good, I'm almost tempted to put Haunted in this slot. Haunted was it, yeah, it's Guardians Go to Therapy, but it was so important for us to understand so many of these characters. And so many of the weapons we got during that are still meta. I mean, Callus Mini Tool is still one of the absolute best weapons in the entire game. And I especially like, I think back to it pretty regularly, the mission where you and Keitel are fighting against the image of Callus. I know I said I wasn't going to bring up the dungeons, but Duality is still a really cool dungeon. I really love that you go into Callus's mind to do it.
Yeah.
And you fight Keitel that way. But there was only one choice in the end. It had to be Seraph. It had to be Seraph for me. Just pitch perfect season, amazing ending to the Rasputin storyline. That final mission has stuck with me for the last year and some change. The final cutscene of the final mission, when you think, oh my god, did we not get there in time? And you see the Traveler start to leave Earth, and everyone's looking up. You see the Guardians decked out in the original Destiny 1 debut armor. You see the Elixni watching. You see the Vanguard watching, and
It's cool.
Crow is watching, and everything else. And the Traveler just just stops. Like, it's there to protect Earth. And the way that the camera shifts into the original teaser art was such a pitch perfect moment to end that season and an incredible, I mean, absolutely incredible year of content
Yeah.
post Witch Queen. And
It,
then we got Lightfall 2 days later.
I can't believe.
I can't believe we went from that shot to Lightfall. I can't believe we went from the opening mission of Lightfall into Lightfall. That opening mission is still so good.
Yeah. Man. Yeah. Oh man, Lightfall. Lightfall, man. I don't know what to say about Lightfall. I really don't.
I'm not even going to talk about it. Not even going to talk about it anymore. One of the guys in our Discord wrote Empire. He said, Splicer, Chosen, and Forge. I do not agree on Forge, but that's a personal matter that I have. I don't think that the story was very good in the early seasons, including in Opulence. But if we're talking about loot and gameplay loop, goddamn, the Forges were solid. Niobe Labs is still the most frustrating experience I've ever had in this game. Do you see Black Armory weapons maybe coming back very soon?
I did see that.
We've been wondering about this for a while. Would Into the Light bring some stuff back? And it really looks like it's happening. For those who don't know what I'm talking about, JP Deathblade, who is someone on Twitter that we have followed the Eververse calendar for years from this man. I have literally followed his calendar since Season of Dawn, and then Bungie took away the API, or changed it at least. He posted the API changes after the big update on Thursday, or last Tuesday, and Black Armory ornaments and the ornament for the Recluse were on are listed to be on sale for dust at some point this season. That is fascinating to me. I believe it was specifically ornaments for Recluse and Hammerhead, which, if you guys remember Hammerhead, that thing was an absolute terror as an LMG, specifically in Gambit and in Crucible. I'm very excited to see if they come back. If it does, maybe it means my beloved Blast Furnace is coming back. One of my favorite primaries of all time. Carried me through so much hard content. I absolutely love that gun. I think I heard Nerd Generalist celebrate a little bit too from afar. Tiger Jesus writes in, do y'all think we are going to get a second wave of Destiny skins for Fortnite around the final shape? If so, who are you liking to see come to Fortnite? I like how I said no more crossover questions, so y'all turned the table on me and said, well, what if it's a crossover for something else? For the record, I do think that there is another set of skins coming, because I think it's way too obvious not to do Cade 6. Cade 6 is a layup. Their reasoning before was Cade's not in the game anymore. Well, he has a major role in the final shape.
Yeah. Yeah, these crossover questions are just going to keep coming until the show ends, right? Like,
I know. I genuinely, I'm going to start ignoring them unless they're different. This is a different one.
You set it up, and we're just going to get a whole thing. We're just going to get a whole question thread.
I'm answering this because they have had a partnership with Epic in the past. There is Destiny content in that game. I feel okay answering this specific one. I would say Cade is absolutely going to be in it. But even though he's been out of the game, Joe correctly notes below that even though he's been out of the game, he is still the character that non-players know. So I would say Cade would have... I don't even think it has to be a whole wave. I think you could honestly just get away with it being Cade.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. I'd love to see a gun wrap that's the Ace of Spades.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
I don't know what else you do. Maybe you could put a skimmer in now as a
you get Colonel. Big Colonel.
Yeah, you fly in with a giant chicken.
That'd be amazing, though.
He's the only one that I feel like it does. I mean, you could put Saint 14 in. If you were to do a full wave, I would say Cade, Saint, and Shax or Osiris would be the last one. I say Osiris because then you've got one of each class again.
Yeah, that would make the most sense, I guess.
But I also could see a fast one being pulled because he seems to be extremely instrumental to the end. Crow.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Those are like the 4 or 5 characters I would guess that would show up. Cade 6 writes in. We have a question from Cade 6. Hope it's Nathan
Ooh.
Fillion. What do you think I should do if I meet Crow in the Pale Heart? Should I forgive him or should I golden gun him into oblivion? I think you should forgive him. Guardians are all about forgetting the past and forgiving what happened. Cade is not the kind of character that holds a grudge, I don't think, especially if he sees that Crow is, he's Crow now. He's not Uldren Sov. He's been reborn in the light. He has shown clear remorse for what he did in his past life.
Mm-hmm.
And completely new man. You forgive that, man. You forgive him. Forgive him, Cade. Please don't golden gun him. I'll hunt you down.
Mm.
And then we have 2 questions from Jiggly Panda to close us out. First question, do you guys remember the first ever video game that you played? Mine was Jack and Daxter, and I'll always have a fond connection with that franchise.
Oh my gosh, you're so young.
You are so young if that's the first
Jesus
video game you
Christ.
remember. Corey, what's yours?
God.
Super Mario Land?
No.
Super Mario Brothers on the NES?
No, it was
Pong?
Combat. It was Combat and Kaboom on the Atari.
Jesus Christ.
In the terrible version of Pac-Man.
And the terrible version of Pac-Man. Well, my answer is going to make me seem fairly young too, I guess, depending on how you look at it.
God damn.
Pokemon Red.
I hate all of you.
Pokemon Red. Actually, no, it's not Pokemon Red. I got Pokemon Red 6 months after my first ever video game, believe it or not, was me playing Star Wars Rogue Squadron in my cousin's basement. She was getting married, and her now husband had a Nintendo 64 down in the basement, and I was the only kid at their they had like a pre-wedding party at their house, and we were in town visiting. And he took me down there to show me how the N64 worked. And 45 minutes later, the family came looking for him because me and him were playing Rogue Squadron so much. It was a blast. It was an absolute blast. My parents refused to let me get video games, and then 6 months later got me a Game Boy with Pokemon Red. And my life was changed forever.
Side tangent, though, Josh. You know who owns Kaboom now?
You?
Microsoft. Because it's an Activision IP.
I swear to fucking God, if we get Kaboom before Banjo-Kazooie, I might actually get arrested.
Toys for Bob, Kaboom. Let's go.
Unbelievable. Also, can you guys give me your top 3 DLCs of all time? Not necessarily Destiny DLCs, but any DLC from any game.
Oh, God. DLC from any game.
This is a really hard question, but I'm going to try my best to answer it. I'm going to say, oh, God, I'm trying to remember the name of it.
This is a
shit.
I don't like this question.
I do like this question.
I do, but I
Diablo 2, Lord of Resurrection, or Lord of Destruction. That's what I'm thinking of. I'm gonna go with that one. I am going to go with Shivering Isles from Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion. And then I'm gonna go I'm gonna cheat a little here.
Oh boy.
Cheat a little, Corey, because it's not technically DLC, but it is brand new content tacked onto the end of the game. You just have to actually play through the game to get to it and meet certain requirements to unlock it. Persona 5 Royale. My runner-up answer, though, would have been Phantom Liberty, for the record.
Yeah, I'm kind of shocked you didn't pick that, to be honest.
It's really hard, but I mean, Shivering Isles is like my gold standard, and I mean, Lord of Destruction was very formative to 9-year-old Josh.
Yeah.
So yeah, Phantom Liberty gets the honorable mention here, but goddamn, Persona 5 Royale, guys, the Royale content, the 3rd semester, it's incredible.
For me, I think I really think the Mario Kart DLC is amazing. I think I spent a lot of time with that. It's real good, Josh. It's real good.
It's real good.
It's real good. I was also really into Assassin's Creed Odyssey and that Fate of Atlantis, and the First Blade DLC was pretty good, although it was like 200 hours into the game.
Yeah, I never finished it. I had problems getting into the Atlantis DLC personally.
Yeah. And then there was some DLC for Gears 2 where you dressed up as Theron guards. I don't know if it holds up today. But I remember really liking it and thinking it was awesome. It was like this cut chapter of the game, so I really like that. Um, I think Gears 3 had a story DLC too, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember.
I don't remember off the top of my head, honestly.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be real with you.
I played a lot of Gears, and I don't remember any of that.
That's fair. The only Gears story DLC that I truly remember was Hivebusters.
Yeah, Hivebusters was fine.
It was fine. I liked that it was standalone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was fine.
Yeah.
It was also on Game Pass, so it took away the hit a little bit. So there's a lot of DLC I haven't played though, to be fair. Also, shout out to Mass Effect DLC.
God, man. You know what? Diablo 2 is getting bumped off this list.
Mm.
The Mass Effect 3 Citadel DLC is it's the Persona 5 Royale to the Mass Effect series. It is such a pitch perfect ending to this game that you wonder how you ever played the base game without it. It is a celebration of the whole series. It is a celebration of the characters. And I don't know if there is a more pure video game out there than how Citadel treats the cast. I'm really happy that when I played through this trilogy for the first time, I was urged by my friends to finish every single side quest, do absolutely everything up to the point of no return, and then pull the trigger on the Citadel.
Mm-hmm.
As someone who played every single quest all the way through all 3 games, that DLC hits you like a fucking brick.
Yeah, it'll get you.
The crew picture at the end absolutely kills me.
Yeah.
I cried. That was the first time I really that I cried during this game. And then I would just proceed, like the last 2-3 hours of Mass Effect 3 is just constant crying. But
that whole story arc, right, is just so
incredible.
So good. Mass Effect, shout out. Citadel Casuals coming soon.
Citadel Cat. We had an episode of that long ago.
I know. That's a series I want to replay at some point.
I gotta find the time.
Yeah.
All right, Corey. I'm running low on battery power. We're gonna run to the lore corner.
All right, lore corner.
I know I promised Ahamkara lore, but guys, we gotta talk about this All-Star Vector because oh boy, the implications here. We're gonna go down a little bit of a lore rabbit hole once we finish this. Because it seems innocuous at the beginning, but it actually ties into something much bigger and may hint at where we're going in the future. Do dragonflies do loop-de-loops? So you're telling me these skimmers just turned up? Prakish prods gingerly at one of the boards with his foot. It floats gently in place at the center of the storeroom. A donation for the games, Spider says distractedly. Is that unusual? He grunts, displeased, and gestures sharply. Ara moves the painting slightly left of its current position, wobbling precariously atop his chair. Usually there's a bet involved, Prakish explains, or it's official Vanguard merchandise. This almost looks like one of the Neomuna skyboards, though, and the Vanguard wouldn't be passing that around. Well, then it seems we've lucked out this year. The right, haha! Ara grumbles, but obeys, hefting the frame into position. I think that did it, Prakish says, squinting at the painting. He doesn't see the point of it, a series of splotchy purple flowers alongside a dark path, indistinct trees, but Spider is gazing up at it like it's made of pure ether. Your donor leave a name at least? Spider sighs and reaches for a datapad. Let's see, 2 shipments, personal vehicle skimmer, gift to the city. Ah, here! Concordat. Spider looks over at Prakish, who shrugs. No idea who that is. None of this matters except for that one word at the end, concordant. For those of you who are not familiar with the concordant, I'm gonna do my best My Name is Bife impersonation here. This is actually really important. This is something that we have not seen referenced in the lore in years. And it ties into the story of the Bannerfall PvP map. Bannerfall was the site of, and I have to go back to the Grimoire cards. We're pulling up the Grimoire.
Grimoire cards, Jesus.
Yep, we're pulling up Grimoire cards.
That's a
Bannerfall. The Bannerfall Grimoire card says, Lysander and the Concordant. mark the most recent example of a city political faction rising in opposition to the consensus. This site marks a legendary battle where New Monarchy's guardians rose to deliver the final blow to the Concordat, unraveling the war effort Lysander sought to bring against the Vanguard. Lord Shaxx has commandeered the area not only to commemorate this last stand, but as a reminder of the city's solidarity against those who seek to undermine the extreme efforts and sacrifice we make together to keep the peace. And then we also need to bring up the Ghost Fragment, the City Age, another Grimoire card. Oh boy. So it is agreed the Concordat should no longer be recognized among the consensus. We'll begin dismantling of that right away. But what of those guardians who have pledged to them? We can't afford any more banishments. I'm sure Zavala can see to their realignment. We'll do our best. Lysander chose his followers wisely. It may take some time. Lysander will not back down. He'll continue his crusade from wherever we stuff him. And so we'll need to find some new ideas to replace his. The Symmetry has been gaining a strong following. Ulantan's teachings are too dangerous, too much fear. Who knew he'd be more trouble dead than alive? We'll need to refocus our collective minds on combat. The speaker's anxious to regain ground we lost after the gap. There is the war cult. Too secretive. Have you ever tried talking to one of their soldiers? Like a child, answering questions with questions. They're dedicated to the war. Which one? Good question. Zavala? They seem focused, strong, more interesting than worrisome. Let's take it to a vote then. All in favor of the ascension of the future war cult. Unanimous? Good. We'll grant the future war cult access to the tower and a seat among us. Ghost, please offer the speaker this proposal. Now, on to the next order of business. Shaxx is here with another proposal for his crucible. So we've long wondered what it would look like if we had to fight some rogue guardians. And I kind of forgot about Lysander just chilling out there because Lysander has not been recognized in the lore at all in Destiny 2, as far as I can discover.
I don't think we've ever talked about him on this show.
We have never talked about him on this show. I went and did a little bit of digging myself and could not find anything until now on him or there is a little bit on, I think he actually is mentioned in one other piece, funny enough, from Arrivals. He is actually mentioned. There's a passage in the Protected passage that says, Ikora would understand. She studied the Taken with me, despite the risks. And this is from the perspective of Ashermere. Despite the risks, and Zavala values foresight, but he also fears the next Lysander, the next Toland, the next Razel Azir. He fears what I could teach his guardians. He is weary of being the one to say no when all his guardians shout yes, yes. But it is duty, and he loves when duty hurts. Actually, that may be about... Nope, never mind. That's from Eris. Never mind. That's Eris. That's not... She's writing to Asher. Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating that we're now bringing the Concordat up. And it kind of gives us a bit of a hint of where we may go with this next expansion. Bungie has been really reluctant to have us fighting other Guardians or to fighting human enemies. But if you're kind of trying to bridge the gap to what comes next, would that maybe be like a fitting final arc on Earth? I don't want to get into this too much tonight, just because I think this is food for thought, and I'm curious to see if we see anything else with Into the Light or in the coming weeks, especially with the final shape. But this might be something we want to put a pin in and come back to, because it's our first mention really since the Future War Cult all fell apart with Lakshmi's attempted coup that we've had mention of some rebels. If the Concordat is still out there, they very well could be recruiting what's left of New Monarchy and New Monarchy, Dead Orbit, and the War Cult. So something to keep in mind as we head towards the end, I guess you could say. It's also entirely possible this never gets referenced ever again, judging by how I could not find a message of the Concordat outside of that, essentially.
We guess we'll see. You know, it could go either way, Josh. It could go both ways.
Isn't that the truth?
It could go both ways. We'll see. Yeah, I'm not. I was gonna maybe get dark, but I'm not gonna get dark. So leave it at that. um. Well, Josh, we did it.
Let's get out of here, Corey.
Let's get out of here. I want to thank everybody for watching and or listening to this this quick episode of Tower Casuals.
Yeah, sorry. This is our shortest episode in a long time, but there just frankly it's not much to talk about right now. Go play Destiny. Be happy and merry.
Yeah. Josh, thank you for your time as well tonight. Where can we find
Always.
you?
Twitter, still holding it down. Josh_Finn.
You can find me, and I am Corey in HD. You can follow us at Tower Casuals. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check out Xbox Casuals, our sister show, every other week. Thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. Until next time, we love you. Goodbye.